Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unprofessional Awards.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Yeah, exactly. We do apologize about that, but
Mental health crisis is the best way I can sum it up.
I was trying to be tactful on this one.
Nah, I'm not. I'm not tactful. I am fully honest with my mental funkage.
I love the fact that most YouTube videos, it's we have to you have to tiptoe around this and do it cautiously to make sure that. Of course, you're just like, no, had a full on breakdown.
Yep.
Well,
I am nothing if not honest.
Well, we got several awards to give out today. We're going to do the usual tactic of give out a bunch of awards and then discuss our winners. Yep. Each award's going to have one winner, with the exception of Game of the Year. We're going to name our top 5 games of the year in alphabetical order, and then we're going to give out the winner. Although I reckon, judging from that, we could also a couple of last years that we're going to be giving out some of these awards. So this will be the last year we're giving out Best Xbox Series X and S exclusive. It's going to change next year to Xbox Series, Xbox first party game, because Xbox seems determined not to keep anything exclusive for a year.
Yeah, once Halo goes, we're fucked.
And it's the last year of Best Switch exclusive.
Yay.
Next year it will be...
Unless something disastrous happens with the Switch 2 launch.
I don't think they'd be doing that, Director, if that was going to be the case. So next year it will be Best Switch/Switch 2 experience. And we can say for definitive this time it will be, this is the last year of it.
Wii U 2.0, let's go.
So, what do you got? 2024, very good. I think much better year for gaming than we thought when we started the year. I think we were expecting a very kind of, this will get us through, this is just designed to keep us going till 2025 year, but there were some standout releases in 2024.
It had a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, well, we managed to do a good selection for our Christmas buying guide.
Yeah,
based off this year.
Yeah, but again, the buying guide was pretty good. The Game Awards arguably had its most consistent and best series of nominations ever. I mean,
that's because for awards, they actually had a good Game Awards.
We had a good Game Awards.
I mean, it took them 10 years to do it, but well done, Keeley.
I mean, the biggest issue of 2024 in the industry probably was the mass amounts of layoffs.
Yeah.
Which which would have played a factor any other year when we did worst company / publisher, but so many of them were doing it that it really couldn't play much of a factor in it, because everyone was as bad as each other. I think Nintendo was the only company we weren't hearing about the mass layoffs from.
Yeah, it was all very across the board in the industry this year.
Did Capcom have any layoffs? I don't remember hearing any from them.
The Canadian department, I think, had a few layoffs. I think Capcom Montreal, I think, did. I might be mistaking that for something else. I know Square Enix did. They were about the only Japanese company that really did it. But then again, they're trying to do so much in America right now.
Yeah. So I don't think Sega had any. I think Sega were all right.
Yeah, but they had a monumental year. But let's move. I think it's time to move on to the awards, though.
Yay! Of course, with all the fun award names I came up with, I did the Joe Leistet method. I thought I sat there and could not think for more than 15 seconds on the name of the awards.
Oh, so you did the bullshit quotes method?
Yep. So if these jokes are bad, that's kind of on brand.
Honestly, if you ever want to have a good time, look up Joe Lycett doing #bullshit quotes, because they're hilarious. Okay, let's start with, we're going to do the 5 negative awards. We're going to start off with the 5 negative awards. So, worst company / publisher, and this is in terms of announcements and releases.
The Mass Layoffs Award.
Well, that's fair enough. Reese, who wins your award?
So I went with Firewalk Studios / Sony for the disaster that was Concord and that debacle.
One thing. Elliot?
I just went with Microsoft.
You went for Microsoft? I went for Ubisoft.
My reason though isn't because of releases, I will admit.
I'll go. Mine isn't about releases, and a lot of other things, but we'll go into that in a minute. Worst game.
The second Trump presidency award.
I'm not erasing that joke.
Nope.
Elliot?
That time I got reincarnated as slime, the Isekai Chronicles.
Reese?
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Concord.
I thought that would be your biggest disappointment, Reese.
Oh no, I've got the titles for
that. Concord was mine.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest review mistake we made.
The My Birth Award.
Oh no, Elliot. Elliot, what was your one?
All the games I dropped.
Reese?
I couldn't really think of one for last year. I thought we were all pretty fair and accurate with our reviews.
I decided to go for not giving Astrobot and Metaphor 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Blandest game of the year.
The Flavorless Yogurt Award.
I'm curious on what you gave this one, Elliot.
Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn.
I completely forgot that came out.
I almost did.
Reese?
Star Wars Outlaws.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
You're not going to like my choice, guys. Rise of the Ronin.
Oh, really?
Well, best. I think I was the only one who played that game.
Oh no, I played it. It was I played it for like a few hours and got bored so quick. Most disappointing game.
The Blue Lock Season 2 Award.
Hey, Elliot.
Sandland.
It
sucks to give it to this one.
Reese.
Lego Horizons.
Oh.
Black Myth Wukong.
I didn't nearly give it to Black Myth Wukong, in all fairness.
All I can say is all the right-wing gamers that really like that game, come at me.
Yeah, come at me as well. That game was, as I said, that was a 7 out of 10 at best.
Should we start with most disappointing game? Because I think that's a good one to start on, because there's some interesting ones in here. I'm not...
Yeah.
So I gave it to Black Myth Wukong, which is a game none of us had much good to say when we were talking about it during awards season.
Did you play it all, Reese?
No, I didn't. I was going to, but then got distracted by other stuff.
That's fair.
I
was gonna do the review of it, and I fought a boss that was so egregiously terrible, I just could not.
Okay, yeah, I agree. It's also the fact of it's got no map. Is one of the big things I didn't like about it. It's got no map. And people have said, oh, it's a really linear path, so you don't need a map. And I'm like, yeah, you do. It's not that linear. Like
it's really not. It's like as linear as Dark Souls 1. I'd say. In fact, no, I'd say it's less linear, funnily enough. Because at least in Dark Souls 1, all these sort of branching pathways happens in like a second half.
Yeah, it feels more like, if I was comparing it with another game, it feels very similar to Dark Souls 3. In that sense. It's kind of between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 on the linear versus open scale. But it's also the fact of the flashy combos don't mean much of anything.
A lot of people who like the bosses, I fucking hate them.
Oh, I hated the bosses.
They have so much health. They all do grapple attacks, which, guys, stop doing bosses that have grapple attacks. Believe it or not, I don't want to see a cutscene of my ass being pummeled.
I think it's
and all the bosses have hyper armor as well, don't they?
Pretty much, yeah. No.
And not to mention all the grapple attacks. If you take lost like more than 20% of your health, you're fucking dead.
What about?
Oh, really?
Okay, what about, let's say, Black? And also, I think it's also the fact the boss designs are really not that innovative. They do kind of blend into one another a bit.
The hitboxes as well are terrible.
Yeah, hitbox.
As I said, the main reason I quit the game is because of one particular boss. His hitboxes were exclusively his legs, which is bad enough. But it's a spider boss, which has a giant gap right in the front that I cannot hit.
Elliot, you gave this one to
Sandland,
and yeah, I agree with you. Sandland should have been the most amazing game, and
I was way too kind to it in my review. I think it was because I was planning from the beginning to have like a rest in peace Akira Toriyama at the end, and I did not want to have that in a negative review. But yeah, there was so many problems with it. The game was way too easy. I rarely found myself dying. The combat was just so boring. It was incredibly difficult to navigate. It was just an incredibly bland game. Which is such a shame for a Toriyama game.
And then you told us, if you want to experience the story, just watch the anime.
Yeah, because the story is great. The anime is fantastic. It's one of my favorites of last year.
But the game just doesn't live up to it. And it's weird.
The game really does not live up to it now.
And I kind of wonder what is the future of Sandland, considering it's not really stuck here and there's no Toriyama to guide future for it.
Well, with Sandland, it was basically a one-shot manga. The first arc was just an anime-only bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't think... So, yes, Sandland was pretty much done.
So there really is not going to be any more Sandland after this?
No, I think it was just sort of like another Toriyama thing to show off. It's fully deserved. It's really good. But the game's terrible.
Reese, your one surprised me. Lego Horizons.
Yes, I'm a big fan of the Lego games. Been playing them since the early 2000s with, of course, Lego Star Wars. There's always been fantastic games.
Who hasn't?
Big fan of the Horizon games as well. Platinum both of them so far. And then, so mash them together, you'd think it'd be a recipe for success, but this game is way too short and way too easy. I did not buy it once. And to get the platinum, it was only like 10 hours.
Did you get the
platinum? I kind of had a bad feeling of it from the beginning. Yeah. More like the thought of, why does this exist?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
this will be a good kid's first game to get into gaming. Because it is good. It recaps the original Horizon game pretty well. The humor's good. Everything's literally made out of Lego, like Lego Star Wars. So it's visually very impressive. But it's too damn short.
Yeah.
Did you actually platinum it in the end?
Yeah, after about 10 hours.
Yeah, not much.
My question is, why did you pick this over Dragon's Dogma? Because Dragon's Dogma was like the hyped up one of the year when it first came out. And then all of a sudden people were just like, oh, it's kind of bad.
Well, with Dragon's Dogma, which I go into later for the worst game, I saw the early access, and I was going off it a bit compared to the original, because with those early previews, they weren't going that in depth on the story or anything because of how shallow it is. Whereas I have a very high expectation of the Lego games, because those have always been fantastic over the years.
By the way, you're the one who's going to get the most amount of hate mail for your choice for worst game. There are people that really like Dragon's Dogma 2, and they're going to say, if you waited long enough, the patches would have come in, and you would have had more of a better time. And I'm like, no, you fucking wouldn't.
Yeah, also
not improved much.
Yeah, also, if you need patches to make your game good, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, no,
yeah. The patches aren't the game. The game's the game.
Yeah, no, look, if I'm going to knock points off if a game has performance issues, no matter how much I like it. I had to knock off points on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I really liked the single player in that, but it had performance issues at the wazoo, so I had to knock serious points off.
No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk 2077 should be the outliers, not the standard.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or just an example from this year with performance issues, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. We all loved that game, but it did have bad performance issues.
Yeah.
I will say Echoes of Wisdom does show up in my awards at some point.
I'm not saying anything.
The next one I want to talk about is blandest game. So, Elliot, you picked Flintlock, a game I forgot even came out.
Yeah. So the reason why I picked this one, I think there were a few games I could have picked, but let me compare it to another game. Dragon Age of Veilguard is a game I was somewhat mixed on by the end of it. I think overall it's good, but definitely not amazing. Yeah. And I took a break from that game during our Christmas break. And that was like 2 weeks off. And then I came back to finish it. I was still confident enough to write the review for it. When I beat Flintlock, we then went to Vakken, and that was a week. I forgot everything. Absolutely everything. I could not write the review simply because I forgot just everything about the game.
And it was that whole thing of it looked like a bland first-person game that was trying to hide behind the magic system. Really, that's from what I gathered of it.
No, it's like a Souls-like.
Oh, yes, that's the Souls-like one. Sorry, I'm getting
mixed up. Are you thinking of Immortals of Avium?
That's the one I got mixed up with. Yeah, that's the thing I got completely mixed up between those two games. So, but flip down. From what I gathered, though, did this go onto Game Pass? I think this went onto Game Pass briefly.
Yeah, I went onto Game Pass.
Yeah, because I actually, that's how I now remember I did download it on my Game Pass subscription, and I deleted it almost instantly.
Yeah, I managed to beat me. It took 10 hours, the quickest I've ever played a Souls-like, and it was just so boring. And I only got 3 weapons in the entire game, and they're all just variations of the same axe. There were some good ideas in it. I liked how you could stack up the for lack of better terms, souls you got, which in this game was called Renown for some reason. And you can not, if you don't get hit, you can build up the percentage more. I like that, but aside from that.
But if you
stale combat, boring bosses, this was just an incredibly boring game.
And if you wanted a really good Souls-like that was on Game Pass, you had another Crab's Treasure.
Yeah, that was a really good one that came out this year.
Yeah, I really liked it. The Switch version had terrible performance issues, but
of course,
but other than that, it was pretty good. Reese. Star Wars Outlaws, a Ubisoft making a Star Wars game, and I got almost exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
Yep. And in this case, it was actually worse than people were expecting, because it was the tired old Ubisoft Assassin's Creed formula. Go to the map, climb towers, unlock more map, repetitive side quests, but this time there was game-breaking bugs everywhere. This game did not go through QA.
And here's the thing: did we kind of what do you think compared to, say, the towers in the maps we had in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Because we were making the joke of the Ubisoft towers in that.
Yeah. Traversing the map in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was a lot easier with the chocobos, whereas in Star Wars Outlaws, you can only use your speeder in certain sections.
Yeah, that was so.
And so that made traversal so bad.
So wait. And I guess in the sections you couldn't use it was still very open.
Yeah, it's still quite open, especially in the cities and around the outskirts.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, because Ubisoft was claiming this was the massive open world Star Wars game we've never had before. And there's loading screens everywhere. It is not that open world.
The massive open world, I mean, you could argue that Jedi Fallen Order is kind of open world. Yeah. Because that's has open areas.
Yeah. And there's 4 main planets you go to, not the... Because during development, they said there's going to be 10 plus planets you can go to before they scale down production. And it's just very boring. Side quests are boring. You're playing mainly as Kay, Vess as herself. You really have your animal companion, Nyx, who helps you cheat at Sabak, which is the only good part, because it's gambling card games. Apart from that, you're just walking through from point to point, occasionally shooting someone or stealing something.
The thing that I find most confusing, though, is that you got the platinum for it.
Well, because I'm a Star Wars fan, I had to. I started, so I finish.
Mate, I'm a Souls-like. I'm a massive Souls fan. You're never going to see me get the platinum for Dark Souls 2.
Mastermind is next. By the way, Mastermind is next month, Reese. I will say, though, I remember actually, because now they've added that thing to the PlayStation dashboard to say your friend's activity, and it came up with Reese has got the platinum trophy on Star Wars Outlaws. I went, really?
He's talking again, folks.
It took me about 40 hours. It's not difficult. It's just tedious.
Yeah, that is... I kind of wonder if you're going to be an option to turn off the indicating to your friends on the dashboard, because I found it... isn't it slightly a bit invasive? Because I found out the first time Elliot played the Sly Cooper games because of that.
It was also the fact you were getting triggered over me beating your times in Astrobot because
Yes,
of it.
that is really, really annoying. I'm still pissed off that I beat his times, and then he, not even an hour later, took the times back. Asshole. So.
Love you too.
I
Petty
picked.
bitch.
I picked I picked Rise of the Ronin.
Why? Why'd you pick that one?
Because I was looking over everything I bought this year, and when I got to Rise of the Ronin, I was like, oh yeah, I bought that. I remember that was the same day as Dragon's Dogma and Princess Peach Showtime, and it left no impact on me whatsoever. I just remember at the time thinking, this is got to be one of the most soulless, Souls-like games I have ever played.
It's not. I wouldn't call it a Souls-like. It has similar mechanics, but it's not a Souls-like.
And they make a whole thing of the open environment, and it's like there's nothing there. It's really dull. Like, so you like about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom not having many features. At least the environment changes on a whim quite a bit, and there's stuff to explore. There's obviously this is a very different game, so it's a hard thing. But I'm just saying people have made that criticism about Breath of the Wild, and I felt.
I think probably the game I would compare it closest to and it's kind of an obvious comparison, but Ghost of Tsushima.
Way more interesting game.
Yeah, I will free admit Ghost of Tsushima is a much better game.
And like, I cannot wait for Ghost of Yotei to come out later this year.
That's gonna be sick. I cannot wait.
Can't
wait to get the platinum for it. I'm not even a trophy hunter. I'm just really getting the platinum for it.
So I think though the thing about Rise of the Ronin as well is they make a big thing about the whole twins mechanic and the grappling hook and like the glider and all that thing. It takes you ages to get half of those things, and the twins mechanic, they basically take that thing from you right early on. So I kind of felt like going, wait, why didn't we make this like a two characters team up thing? Like another game I actually like, which is Code Vein. That game has a brilliant sort of like partner mechanic to it, and I thought, oh, we're going down this route, and then they get rid of that thing early on. Also, the boss fights are too difficult. Like, I know that's weird to say in this kind of game, but if we're going back to the Souls comparisons, which I know is a bit of a bad comparison now, but the game kind of invites it on some level. In Dark Souls and Elden Ring and all those games, the first couple of bosses are not the hardest thing ever. The tutorial bosses are too hard in this game.
So in that case, would you say it was as hard as Elden Ring's tutorial boss you're supposed to lose to?
No, I'd say they're harder.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I wouldn't really say that. I don't think. Anyway.
Anywho, the next award we want to talk about is biggest review mistake. I don't think it's fair on you, Elliot, because you had plenty of legitimate reasons to drop some of those reviews.
Yeah, but them being bad and boring, me just being too ambitious and not having the time.
Look, there's loads of factors to go into whether we can finish a review or not. And I think you were a little hard on yourself with that one.
That's nice of you to say, but I still ask for permission to beat myself up over it.
Okay.
Denied.
So I'm going to move on to my one, which was not giving Astrobot and Metaphor 10 out of 10. And I think both of those games could have been... And it made me because it was the time it made me realise I can give a 10 out of 10 game. I feel like we're...
it was the time I did as well. My first 10 was Astrobot.
Because I feel like we've done this now where we've said, where we're so pressured in this idea of, if we're saying a game's 10 out of 10, we're saying it's perfect. No, it's not perfect, but it's so good that we think the flaws are just so not noticeable. And I think 2 games came out this year that really were like that, and those were Astrobot and Metaphor.
I think in my case, giving a 10 out of 10 is really tough, because the only game I played that I would really consider 10 out of 10 is Persona 5. And that's like my favorite game.
Oh yeah,
So to give another game that high is sort of like, oh, that's on the same level as Persona 5, which I wouldn't think it is.
I would say as well,
So
retroactively.
I feel like the only time I would give a game 10 out of 10 is if I play something that's either on the same level or surpasses Persona 5.
I also would like to retroactively say I would have given Persona 5 Royal a 10 out of 10, and I would have given. No, I think that's the only other game I think I would have given a 10 out of 10 to. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I think no, there's nothing else I've played that I. Oh no, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
I wouldn't have given them a 10 personally.
I wouldn't. I think I was the only one of us who gave them like an 8.
Okay. Okay. So.
I think it's worst game net, right? Next, right?
I want to save that one to last. I want to move on to worst company / publisher. So, especially considering that Reese's one is going to tie into my worst game. So, so you're going to go last on this one, Reese, because we're going to transition into worst game afterwards.
Sure, no worries.
So, Elliot, you gave it to Microsoft.
Was mine.
And it's a very valid decision, Microsoft.
It's entirely because they closed down Tango Gameworks.
And
like they made a game last year or 2023 that won so many awards, that did so well, that outsold like their Bethesda game, or maybe not outsold it, but did way better than it. And they decided, yeah, fuck you, we're going to close you down because we made a dumb mistake by buying Activision.
Yeah, and even if it didn't outsell the other titles, it was more critically accepted than them at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like they were all just also shut down a bunch of other company studios that did really other games. Like Arcane, yeah, they made Redfall, but they also made Evil Within and Dishonored, which are two other really big Bethesda titles.
Can I point out, Evil Within is Tango Gameworks, Dishonored is Arcane Austin.
Okay, all right, fine, yeah, but still, like those are still like big single player Bethesda games. And the one reason I can think is because they haven't sold as well as like Bethesda's big games like Skyrim and Fallout. Yeah, because they're not like the major flagship titles. You can't. It'd be like expecting Donkey Kong to sell as big as Mario.
It's also
or when Square Enix wanted the Tomb Raider to sell like 10 million copies.
Yes, what planet were they on?
If you remember that.
Yeah, what planet were they on with that Tomb Raider was going to sell 10 million?
Or this is years ago, or like when EA expected Death Space 3 to sell 5 million.
Yeah.
I will say I will say the reason I didn't pick Microsoft, and I'll go into my reason, is that despite the fact they probably pissed me off the most with closing Tango Gameworks, at least Tango Gameworks got rescued at the end, and Hi-Fi Rush has been rescued. And
they
also,
did, but the other ones didn't. And I kind of feel like that's a massive blow.
And the other factor I want to say before I go into the other reason why I didn't give it to him is I don't get why Microsoft suddenly care about sales, because their whole business model is Game Pass.
Because they bought Activision for over 70 billion, and now they have that massive gap, and they still need to make that, back because Microsoft kind of left Xbox to do their own thing. Now they're getting involved after that.
So the other reason I didn't give it to Microsoft is because there was 2 really good releases from the studios this year, and I felt that had to go into their favor. That being Hellblade 2 and Indiana Jones. Which one? Stay tuned to find out which one won the award off me.
I already have a feeling.
Yep.
I will say
with Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. I give it to Ubisoft, and it's mainly for a couple of reasons. They had no good releases in. Not only did they have all the issues that Microsoft had, they had no good releases in 2024. They might have fixed it if they'd managed to get Assassin's Creed Shadows out on time, but that thing's been delayed to high heaven, and I don't mind that. If they need more time to make that game, that's all well and good. I've got my doubts. I think they're trying to avoid clashing with other games that could outsell it.
I think personally, I think personally, the best outcome for that game would be it to just not come out. Just for it to be an indefinite development hell. It will become the new Duke Nukem Forever.
Even though the biggest announcement was Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I felt like saying at the time, sorry, too late. You needed to do this game needed to come out 10 years ago to be relevant. That's when people wanted Assassin's Creed in Japan. We already now have a much better open world game set in Japan. That mimics
we have tons of them.
We have tons of them, but more importantly, we're in a post Ghost of Tsushima world, and it's just going to make me think. That whole time I'm going to be playing that thing because I have the review job for it. I'm probably going to be thinking, God, I wish I was playing Ghost of Yotei. I cannot wait for that game to come out. And that's the thing. They waited too long to bring it out.
Definitely.
I'm not going to say this is because they've only just had the idea. They were hinting at this by the end of the Ezio saga. They were proper hinting at we were going to have Assassin's Creed Japan. No, that's not happened. And also look at what they started the year with, Skull and Bones. Now that game should have been cancelled years ago. If it wasn't for like court issues that they would have landed themselves in if they had not released it, that game would have rightfully been cancelled. And this is the guy.
I completely forgot that game came out.
Yeah, everyone.
because it was in development for 10 years, Elliot.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
It was also dubbed the world's first quadruple A game.
And quadruple, that's rubbish. And I am the pirate guy amongst us. I love pirate history and pirate memorabilia, all that, and imagery and all that stuff.
You just like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, Cal's got a giant Aeolstorm tattoo across his chest.
But that's the point. I'm the primary market for this thing, and they could not sell me on it.
Yeah.
Mainly because...
I mean, let's be honest. I'm the biggest Viking fan of all of us. I could not give less of a shit about Valhalla.
So, Reese, we're tying into worst game, and because I picked Concord for worst game, but you picked Firewalk Studios and
Sony.
Now, the reason I didn't give it to Sony was because they also produced one of the best games of the year. So I don't, but I think Fiery Joker summed it best when he said, "God, they had a yo-yo year."
Massively. So the whole Concord, according to one inside source, which hasn't been concretely confirmed, it took 8 years and $400 million to produce what we got.
I have information...
And it was all gone in a week.
2 weeks, Elliot.
Without dobbing someone in on it, I'm going to say I've heard stuff to contradict that figure.
Yeah. Which is why I said just going off one source.
So I'll be honest, I do not trust this one source that says it was £400 million to make, $400 million to make. But God, Concord was a disaster one way or another.
Yeah, it was still a live service game in an ocean of bloated live service games available.
We know I really think there's going to be a documentary made at some point about how much of a disaster Concord was.
I think if it is true and it did take 8 years, it would have started development around the time that Overwatch first came out. Yeah. And I think maybe to give them the benefit of the doubt, they didn't expect it to take this long.
Now, Sony purchased them partway through because Firewalk Studios was independent, and then they got purchased by... They did a deal where they were going to do a partnership with Sony, and then they were outright bought. Because we actually commented about it when way back in the day when we did our first feedback about Summer Games Fest.
Oh, back in the day.
Like, that was years ago that we were talking about Firewalk Studios, and like within a year, they're gone. Like, their game was taken off the shelf in 2 weeks.
Especially because this was their first project as a company as well.
Can I also point out, though, I said this I feel sorry for the developers there. I do not feel sorry for the higher ups because no one forced them to make an Overwatch clone. You pitched this, you sold this to Sony. This one is you have to take you don't have to take all the blame, but you have to take part of the blame.
Oh,
I should point out Elliot's cuddling one of his dogs.
I'm on dog duty today. I'm on puppy duty.
oh, look at that face. And not just Elliot's this time.
This is where everyone's wishing this wasn't audio only, so they could see the puppy.
Yeah.
Can I move? So I will say as well, I played Concord. You heard me when I talked about the beta. I said I'm willing to give this thing a chance because it looks like they might have something from this early stage beta, and I bet you when I get the game, it might open up. God,
you were the only one who's defending it. Me and Reese knew from the beginning it was going to be bad.
No, 3 days in, I was like, this is so crap. Like, this is unbelievably crap. And it was basically a case of all the character designs are not very good. I'm going to say it right now.
Well, because the whole marketing thing was, we're doing Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I just felt the time watching some of those cutscenes and watching that trailer, why don't you just make a single-player game that's a sort of spiritual successor to that Guardians of the Galaxy game? That would actually have been something I would have really liked to have
We're gonna do Guardians of the Galaxy, aka we're gonna do wisecracks all the time, and our characters will sometimes be blue.
I love and put it this way, I'm seriously considering. I've been seriously considering for ages adding how much I like the Guardians of the Galaxy game. I've been seriously considering adding it to the streaming schedule down the line, either for a Tuesday or Thursday.
Oh, that would be great. I'm absolutely up for streaming that.
Okay.
Because I was the one who reviewed it, got the platinum. I highly recommend it.
I've got the platinum for it. Yeah. It's sick.
Yeah, turn on streamer mode for God's sake. But we still get the Star-Lord songs.
Hey.
You just won't be rickrolled during combat now.
Oh, thank God for that.
We just won't be able to listen to one of Motley Crue's few good songs.
And
I'd say that I do actually like a fair amount of Motley Crue's old stuff.
Yeah. Take on Me though. That song was gone if you do that. But let's put it this way. And as well as another thing that highlighted it for me was the fact that we got another hero shooter that came out this year, and it just did everything better than Concord. And the thing about Concord is because they tried to separate themselves out from Overwatch by trying to make some more unique power sets, they ironically didn't separate themselves out more than they needed to. As a result, the similarities were just so much more noticeable. And
it's okay. The biggest nail in the coffin, they charged 40 quid.
Oh God,
launch.
I paid 50.
Whereas all the other hero shooters like Overwatch 2 and Marvel Rivals were all free at the time.
Can I point out I paid 50 for the special edition, so I got access to the open beta.
You got the special edition.
I got my money back, fortunately.
Good.
Bloody God! I wouldn't have bought it if it was pre-owned.
So, and that's a thing. Imagine if you got a disc of that now, or the controller. Elliot, your worst game was That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime game.
Yeah.
And God, that it was so disappointing because that game should have been amazing.
I think if you watch anime videos, you know That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is my favorite isekai. I love that anime so much, and the game was just, oh my God. First of all, easiest game I've ever played by far. Like, never mind never dying. My health never reached halfway. And the levels are just so boring. All you do is go down corridors and then fight. Very incredibly easy fight. The most upsetting part is the town management. Because building up Tempest is a big part of the anime. So I thought, oh, cool, that's going to be really cool. The buildings do absolutely nothing. You don't have... No, actually, that's wrong. All the buildings do is increase your stats in combat. So you're even more of a power than before. And there's, like, no city management. There's nothing to make sure you have to, like, keep your allies... make sure, like, you know, all your citizens are happy or anything. Or, like, any real, like, social confidant kind of Persona 5 things to get close to your allies. Literally, all you do is just you put a building there. That's it. Increased attack. It is so fucking boring. I swear to God, the only reason I managed 15 hours is because I had Taskmaster on in the background.
Okay, so next, Reese, your worst game was
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Now, I would actually say for many people they would have said your choice for blandest and the disappointment game would have made more sense for this than Dragon's Dogma 2. What's your response to that?
My response is this game is very unfinished. There is pretty much zero content in it compared to the first game. So in the whole map of Dragon's Dogma 2, there's 2 capital cities where you go between them. 80% of the stories in the first capital city you do within 5 hours. This game has no other overarching story.
It's weird.
And there's no side quests. The equipment's bad. The learning spells is bad and slow. Changing jobs is bad and slow. Because getting experience for your job is bad and slow. Everything in this game takes forever to do. And there's no enjoyment in it.
Okay, so I'm gonna call. I have to.
I will say one thing I do like about Dragon's Dogma 2, as someone who hasn't played it, there is a specific arrow that can insta kill anything, even bosses, and then it's so difficult to get. I just think that's kind of cool.
Yep, there's 2 in the whole game.
Yeah, and apparently once you fire it, it auto saves, so you can't get it back.
Yep, and the game is that bad you cannot have save files either.
Yeah, that's
true. It also says you can't go back.
Yeah, and apparently, apparently checkpoints are really bad. I remember in the Zero Punctuation episode, when Yahtzee died, he was spawned 4 hours behind where he was.
Yep.
That's 4 hours of content you've got. Presumably he's not done hyperbole there. That would be so much.
No, it's literal, yeah.
Because I didn't get that far into Dragon's Dogma 2. It just did not grip me in any way, shape, or form.
I was not interested in it to begin with.
Yeah, I finished it. It was a complete waste of time.
And it's weird because I'd say out of all 3 of the games that released on that day, Princess Peach Showtime was the best one.
Yeah, probably.
That's saying a lot because that game feels like it's only really the concept rather than the full release.
So anyway, let's talk positive.
Okay, yeah, we're going to do 4 awards for this next category. So we're doing. Hang on a sec. Yeah, we're going to do 3 awards to start things off. Then we're going to do 4 for the next lot. So.
Oh yeah. So before we move on, my score for Dragon's Dogma 2 was 5.3.
Yeah. Are you going to revise that to be lower?
That's still more than I gave her. That's how I got Ricard to Slime.
Yeah.
And more than I would have given Flintlock.
Okay.
That was a perfect 5.
Let's see. So yeah, okay, we're gonna do 3 awards for this next one. So
best esports player, because we all love esports, don't we, guys?
Yes.
Number 1, Faker, that one guy who plays League.
I'm giving it to Wolf Glick. Best soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. The Crusty Metal Banged on Crusty Black Metal on Cassette Tape Award.
And your pick, Elliot?
Stellar Blade.
Reese?
Tekken 8.
Oh, yeah.
That's... Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh, I thought you would pick Metaphor.
Yeah.
I'll explain my reasoning behind it. Best update to a game through DLC or free updates.
The Skidoo Award.
And I'm guessing we all picked the same game for this one?
Yeah, Elden Ring, Shadows of the Earth Tree.
Yep, Elden Ring here.
Elden Ring. Best.
It's the most obvious one.
And finally, best multiplayer experience.
The least racist COD Lobby Award.
Elliot, what's your pick?
Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2.
I thought you might pick that one. Reese?
Marvel Rivals.
And
I thought you would pick Tekken.
And I'm going to join you, Reese. Marvel Rivals. So we'll start with multiplayer experience. So we'll go to Marvel Rivals first, since it's two of us picked it.
Yay, solidarity.
So I chose this over Tekken 8 because Tekken 8 online multiplayer at launch was miserable with everyone spamming the same cheesy combos.
That's fighting games in general.
Also,
It was worse here than any previous Tekken game.
You don't want to play Street Fighter 6 with me then.
Yeah.
The thing is, for
Hence
me,
why I'm a Soul Calibur player. We're a respectable breed.
Because you have no online anymore.
Exactly.
The one I was seriously...
Soul Calibur 6 does.
The one I was seriously...
Yeah, but 2 people still left on it.
The one I was seriously considering picking...
Hey, don't make fun of Frank. Frank's cool.
Okay, the one I was seriously considering picking other than Marvel Rivals was going to be Super Mario Party Jamboree, but I chose against that because it...
It didn't work.
No, it did work. It's just loads
Not
of people...
for us, it didn't.
It's just for loads of people. It's one, it didn't have the offline multiplayer experience that I wanted because it didn't have wireless communication between switches. But it also, the online, it was prone to rage quitters. And it didn't really, and also it really didn't fix some of the net coding in there. So some of that was lost. But the Fall Guys knockoff they did was actually pretty good. And about time they did something like that. But no, Marvel Rivals...
They really did that with Kirby.
Yeah, they didn't exactly do a knockoff of it. It was you were repeating free minigames, earning coins to make your character cross the finish line first. It's actually quite good. It really is quite fun. But anyway, I thought though, for me, it was just a case of Marvel Rivals had really got me to fall back in love with hero shooters in a way that I haven't been in a long time. And they did a really good job transferring those Marvel power sets to the characters from the comics. I mean, some of them, you're going to find a character you want to play as, like Reese found Magneto.
Yeah. Due to the way there's no roll queue, I had to find several characters.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You have to find several characters because they haven't introduced a roll queue yet. So I always have Jeff as my healer, Scarlet Witch as my duelist, and Penny Parker as my tank. And yeah, I will say though, I'm not a huge fan of the redesign of Penny Parker. Because of the mech. I think I preferred the design of the mech in... I think the mech had more a distinct look in the Spider-Verse films.
Yeah.
What about you? And I mean, we could go on about it. But I mean, there is more content, a lot more content that's going to come to Marvel Rivals, and it's proven a hell of a success. So, Reese, what was the big clutch for you for why you picked it?
I do not have many rage quitters or toxic people spamming the comments.
Oh no, I get rage quitters all the sodding time if our team's losing.
Really?
Yeah, no, at least one team member will go every match if we're losing.
Are you sticking to ranks though, or quick play?
Quick play.
I'm seeing quick play as well mostly.
So Elliot, you picked
Warhammer,
and it was very good.
I thought you didn't like it.
I will say, no, I'm saying from a technical standpoint, it was very good. It just didn't grip with me.
Yeah. So this has both PvE and PvP modes. PvE is incredibly fun. Basically, you're just going through missions that you're following the story of the original game, but with a different squad, as opposed to Captain Titus, and those are just insane. Those are insanely fun. I still love being swarmed by Tyranids and whatnot. It's super cool. But the PvP mode is also really fun. I like all the multiple classes you have and their special abilities, even if the power walks are fucking really annoying because they got the giant shields.
Yeah.
But I think, I just thought it's a ton of fun. It's one of the only games I've kept playing since I've reviewed it, just because of how much I've enjoyed the multiplayer, and especially the fact that it's still being updated, and we're going to be getting a horde mode, which I think is going to be kind of a COD zombie survival mode.
Yeah, there's a new trailer just the other day on YouTube for it.
yeah, I think it looks super sick. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. Like, yeah, really, really, really fun. Absolutely worth. And especially as this is a game that actually got me looking up more Warhammer stuff.
So this
Yeah, I'm one of those fans, guys. I'm one of those fans.
Yeah, but interestingly, I feel like apparently this also worked for Marvel Rivals as well. A lot more people picked up comics after that game, after enjoying that game.
Yeah, it's got to a point now where we see comic book stores with people loading photos of them putting the character arts on the comics to draw people to the comics.
Is it like that? Is it like in bookstores you see a pile of books saying "popular on Book Talk" is now in Marvel Rivals tag?
Yeah. So they're gonna
pretty much.
So they're gonna do that in June when Jeff's series gets its first trade paperback.
Yeah, floating doggo.
So
it's just a disembodied dog head floating
because of Elliot's background. So the next. And also, Elliot, I would say with what we're hearing, both of these games would be good contenders for next year winning best DLC and updates.
Possibly, yeah.
So we'll go on to best DLC and updates last because that's the one we all agreed on.
The most obvious one.
Best soundtrack. So Elliot, you gave this one to Stellar Blade.
I gave it to Stellar Blade,
which is a very good choice.
Seriously good soundtrack. I absolutely love it.
And it's it does a very good job of moving between that easy listening sound to the big action beats.
Yeah, like the soundtrack, it gives me major Nier Automata vibes, which is nothing but a compliment because Nier Automata has a fantastic soundtrack, and I like the different sort of range it has. Like it has a lot of it is sort of like sci-fi synthy kind of sounds, but a lot of it also has like sounds kind of metally and like sort of techno-y, and every song with lyrics is an absolute banger. Like the song that played since in the boss fight with Raven, I've had that in my head ever since I fought that boss. It's such a good song. It's such a good song and just such a good soundtrack.
I have to agree with you, Elliot. I really like the soundtrack of Stellar Blade. Reese, which one did you give it to again?
Tekken 8.
Yeah, Tekken.
That's 8. A good one, Elfaz. That's a really good one.
Yeah, Tekken 8.
Yeah, it's also one of my favorite soundtracks, and it kind of cheats as well because if you go to the music settings, you can listen to all the previous soundtracks as well, so they're all there together. So it's kind of cheating. It's 8 soundtracks in one.
So it's kind of like saying, "Oh, Smash Bros was my favorite soundtrack of the year." Just because it has all the songs from all those Nintendo games.
But it does have a bunch of really good original songs, though.
Yeah, like the main title song is done by the same guy who did the theme song for Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, My Last Stand, the song with vocals.
That is so bizarre when you think about it.
My Last Stand's like one of the best songs of the year. That song is so good.
Yep, and I've listened to it so much on Spotify. So much so that when I did my yearly wrap-up, it said I was in the top 1% of listeners to that soundtrack.
Oh my god!
It is so good.
So one I picked the same one from the Game Awards. I picked Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and it's basically because it took a bunch of those great songs from the original game and it updated them brilliantly, and then it added a bunch of really great songs on top of that.
It reminds me of when I was younger, the ripe young age of 53.
But here's the thing about it. I think the thing that sold it for me as well was the opera sequence.
Yeah, that was good.
That sequence was where I went, no, that's the thing that wins it for me, because they have some great songs, and it's that one moment where you're thinking, I really kind of hope they change the ending.
Yeah.
And yet you sort of kind of think, but are they going to? I'm not going to spoil anything because, again, Final Fantasy VII, the remake trilogy, has its own clusterfuck of what's going on in it. But
well, it says it's a remake, but is it really?
Well, that's the thing, though. I'm kind of going, wait, we can do a whole spoiler discussion on Final Fantasy VII at another time. But
that's a I'm so surprised he didn't pick Metaphor.
Metaphor was close, especially for those.
And Metaphor was like a close second for me.
Yeah, especially for those battle themes. The battle themes are very good in Metaphor.
Yeah, with just the monk chanting.
Yeah, didn't I send you? I think
Like, that blew up when the game first came out.
Didn't I send you that? I think it was it Pingus McDingus who did that joke animation of like the dancing going. That was, and then it's course, and it's an amazing. That song is amazing, but it was a case of just Final Fantasy, as I said, Rebirth. The thing that tipped it over the edge was the opera sequence for me, which is a bit weird considering it's kind of out of nowhere and doesn't really tie much to anything.
I mean, Juna does songs in Metaphor, and those songs are good.
That's the thing, though. I kind of wish they leaned more into Juna's songs. I feel like they're for the fact you have a songstress in the groups, you don't give her much to do. I often thought, why don't they give her a Nightwish-like song? That would have been really great. So, best DLC.
Yeah, we all knew. Let's be honest, we all knew this one was winning when it first came out.
Yeah, like there would have been a bunch of, like, I will say, if Elden Ring hadn't come out, this would have gone to Vampire Survivors. But
I think if it wasn't for Elden Ring, I would have picked Cult of the Lamb. You can now breed followers.
If it hadn't
and the babies are so fucking cute.
If it hadn't been for Elden Ring, Reese, what would you have picked?
Oh, there wasn't really that many for me to go off myself.
Yeah, you did.
Because I've not played Cult of Lamb since the new update.
So if I'm gonna add something to it, I'm gonna say I really, really liked, but I really, really liked the DLC for Elden Ring. It was a proper good. It did almost feel like a sequel at times.
The DLCs for Souls-like are always better than the base game, aside from Dark Souls 2. But this one did it again. I have no idea how. Like, oh my god, this is so much fun. Like, Mesmer is one of my favorite Souls-like bosses now officially.
Yeah, Mesmer goes into my list.
It was also interesting. You go through the whole DLC. Only 3 bosses are mandatory.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's so much variety players can do to tailor their experience.
I mean, you could say the same with Elden Ring. Technically, a lot of bosses really aren't necessary. You could just do
it's 2 shard bearers to get to the main city you need to kill.
Yeah, two shard bearers, but like compared to all the other shard bearers that there are, you can sort of you don't really have to go through that many of the very main bosses.
I think there's about 7 to finish the base game mandatory.
Yeah, I think so.
But the thing is, those games, what the game does brilliantly is it basically says, yeah, we're only going to make these ones mandatory, but you're going to enjoy this so much that you're going to want to do everything.
Oh, absolutely, definitely.
And it really rewards you for going. And what I liked about it was you couldn't start the game with an overpowered character and just breeze through it. It's basically going to say, we're going to punish you for wanting to come in with that mindset.
I found that out. My level 431 character.
Yeah.
I was getting shit stomped as soon as I spawned in.
Yeah,
with your fucking bubbles.
Yeah, because I tried.
Yeah, because in the DLC, all the bosses resist holy damage. So they literally made this DLC to piss me off.
Yes, they did.
I cosplayed as Guts. I was good.
Oh dear. Okay, I'm gonna move us on now.
Sure.
Most surprisingly enjoyable. 4 awards again. Most surprisingly enjoyable game.
The How Is This Podcast Not Cancelled Yet award.
Your award, Elliot?
Rise of the Ronin.
Oh, that is weird now.
Yeah.
Reese?
I was thinking, God, there's going to be a discussion.
Reese?
Astrobot.
Okay. Oh. I gave it to Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
Hey, nice.
Best graphics and art style.
The Almost Convincing AI Art Award.
I've seen a few of those. Elliot?
We know, Cal.
Senua Saga Hellblade 2.
Reese?
Tekken 8.
Astrobot. Best company / publisher.
The Poodle in a Top Hat Award.
I like that. Elliot?
Sega.
Reese?
Bandai Namco.
And I'm going to agree with Elliot. Sega / Atlas.
Yeah.
And finally, best remaster / re-release.
The Sonic 2 with a Line Award.
Oh, God. Elliot, what are you giving it?
Persona 3 Reload.
Persona 3 Reload? Reese?
Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake.
I had a feeling.
And I'm going to give it to Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake.
Of course, yeah, knew it.
I was close to giving this to Silent Hill 2 or Sonic X Shadow Generations.
Now, that's the one I thought you were going to go for.
Yeah,
The
that's
Sonic
the
one.
same.
But I felt like, more than anything, Thousand Year Door completely improves on what something you thought wouldn't be improved upon. Considering from what I've seen of the... Because I hadn't played Thousand Year Door until the Switch version. I'd heard...
I had played the original.
But you told me about...
I did not. It was way too expensive.
But you told me about all the things, and I looked up about all the things it improved upon, and I was like, yeah, no, this has to win. Like, it's a really great way to play Thousand Year Door.
It's the best way to play, in my opinion.
Yeah, and for this, I'm kind of sad this didn't sell very well.
Did it break 1 million copies?
It did, yeah, but I think it sold below Nintendo's expectations. Put it this way, Mario and Luigi Brothership sold way better. So did Paper Mario Jamboree as well. They sold way better.
It sold 1.94 million.
I mean, that's not bad.
Just shy of 2 million then.
That's not bad, but I feel like Nintendo's going to look at that and say, "This is the kind of Paper Mario that needs to be being made."
Yeah. Meanwhile, the new Mario and Luigi sold 2.15 million.
So only about 200,000 more copies then.
Okay, yeah. So maybe
I still think Paper Mario is a major success.
What about? But then again, you got to remember Paper Mario Jamboree. That was not Paper Mario, Super Mario Party Jamboree. That was the best. That's one of the fastest selling Mario games on the Switch.
Yeah,
that is weird when you think about it. Like, not Mario Odyssey. This was the one that got that title.
Which was new by the time. I think a lot of people didn't have it.
But oh god, yeah, no, Thousand Year Door remake is so good.
Yeah.
It is real. I really urge you, if you haven't bought it yet, to give it a buy.
Because it preserves everything great about the original version from GameCube, but only adds to it more. And the better quality of life features.
And eliminates so much of the backtracking.
The one downside, obviously, is that they cut the frame rate in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish...
Which I only found an issue by doing the new super bosses, because there's 2 new super bosses in the game.
But I also...
that weren't in the original.
And I also want to point out, this might get an update on the Switch 2 to be 60.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. This might... Obviously, Nintendo's going to give a bunch of updates to their games to make them run better on Switch 2.
Yeah.
So Pokemon Company's probably going to do something with Scarlet and Violet at last. We're going to see probably a better frame rate for the Echoes of Wisdom. Elliot, you picked Persona 3 Reload, which is a really good way to play Persona 3. Probably the best way.
It's the best way. It's the best way to play Persona 3, I think.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why I picked it is because, like, first of all, obviously, better way. Now more people are going to get into Persona 3, like, because of the but also, like, I just thought this is going to be what I want from this game. Is I want to make it more like Persona 5, like in the art style, in the camera angles, and like voice acting, all that stuff. And they fucking did it. They like managed to modernize Persona 3, and they did a fantastic job. Yeah, it had some issues that the original had, but I don't think you could have really fixed them without completely overhauling the game.
I agree.
And in my opinion, I think they did an absolutely amazing job with it. I think this could have gone wrong, and I think they really did good. Well, good. So yeah, thumbs up. Hope Persona 4 gets the same treatment eventually.
And also to my knowledge, Sega and Atlas sold it at a discount, didn't they? Not full price.
It wasn't
Yeah,
full
I think
price.
so.
And I think they could have got away with the full price release, considering how good it looks and how well it plays.
Oh, absolutely.
And you got to.
So it's just more positive for gamers.
Yeah, and again, you got to remember, Xbox gamers, they got it. I think they got it for free because I'm pretty sure it went to Game Pass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did. Pretty much every Atlas game has gone to Game Pass, with the exception of Metaphor. Metaphor didn't go to Game Pass, which I think was a mistake. That was a mistake. That was a platform you weren't expecting to sell that many copies on.
Or maybe it's just a message for it was just a message for Xbox players. Hey guys, pay for your fucking games.
Which they really were trying to, because they did a marketing deal with Xbox, and I imagine the Xbox version probably sold better because of it.
Yeah.
Although I bet you anything, the PlayStation version was responsible for way more sales.
No, I played it on did I? Yeah, I played on PC.
So, what else is up for? What do you mean?
Just before we move on, Ali, how was it playing Persona on a PC compared to console?
Oh no, I meant Metaphor. I played Persona 3 on PS5.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I played the
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I played the PS5 version as well.
That's before I got the Beast right here.
Yeah, I played it on PS5 mainly because you get bonuses for having save data from other Persona games on there. Well, okay, so speaking of which, we'll move on to best company / publisher, because Sega and Atlas plays a part into Sega and Atlas, who had me and Elliot picked, and they had a fantastic year.
We already gushed about Atlas, but they also had a good Sonic game for the first time in years, and on top of that, in my case, they released a new Yakuza. And it's one of the best Yakuzas I played, I think.
2 Yakuzas, because they also released Yakuza Kiwami. Haven't that come out? Has that not come out yet?
Kiwami was years ago.
Yeah, no, they're re-releasing it on Switch.
Oh yeah, they did that.
They re-released it on Switch, so we had 2 new Yakuza games. We had Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which, from the brief I've played of it, it's been fantastic.
It's great. I love it.
You had a brilliant release with Sonic X Shadow Generations. You had Super Monkey Ball, but not Banana Blitz, which was fantastic. Probably the best Monkey Ball.
Which people always forget is made by the same company, behind Yakuza.
Yeah, it's
made by RGG Studios.
And yet they made the bet, and yet they did not step off at all. It's one of the best Monkey Ball games in years.
Sega overall, I've done a real solid job this year. No complaints.
Yeah, it was every time. And also they also published that game from Vanillaware, the Unicorn Overlord. They also had that on there.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
So they published that game. We had they had so much come out this year. Not to mention, of course, Metaphor. All the stuff that they did, probably one of the best possible 25th anniversaries for Atlas they could have done. It's outstanding how well. And of course, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Remaster, that came out.
Oh yeah, Shin Megami 5 Vengeance.
Yes, and that actually improved on the game significantly.
Yeah, because the frame rate wasn't absolutely terrible.
Yeah, so seriously, great year for Sega and Atlas.
Yeah, you're welcome for that Christmas present.
Thank you. Reese, you didn't pick Sega, you picked Bandai Namco. What made them win over Sega?
So not only were they a great publisher this year, they also directly developed Tekken 8 themselves.
Yeah.
But on the publishing side, they also did Gundam Breaker 4, which I loved.
That was great.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which I loved.
Great.
And they also published Elden Ring DLC internationally.
Yeah, of course, that's involved. And I have to agree with you about Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. That is one of the best Dragon Ball games in years. That's the best one I've played since Fighter Z.
Yeah, so I was super impressed with what they released this year. And a lot of their items do make up a lot of my list.
I mean, isn't Sparking Zero kind of a spiritual successor to Budokai Tenkaichi?
Pretty much.
Yeah, because it's the same developers from Spike. They came back to make it.
So they've had a really good year, actually. I will agree, but you made a good case for Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
So we're going to move to best graphics and art style because we can transition into most surprising enjoyable game because me and Reese picked a winner at the same game in 2 of those categories. So best graphics and art style. We'll start with you, Elliot. You picked
Senua Saga.
It does look amazing, that game.
Wow. Honestly, one of the best looking games I've ever played. Like, holy shit. On a similar level to Alan Wake 2 and Stray, it was just so good. So good looking. Like, you felt the atmosphere. You felt like the dark atmosphere. And the details on, like, Senua and all the other people that you saw all throughout the game. Like, Senua Sacrifice, even by today's standards, a fantastic game, a fantastic looking game. You would not think you'd be able to top that. They fucking did it. That just makes me think, okay, I want more from this. I really hope Microsoft does not do anything with Ninja Theory.
I agree. Now, incidentally, we both played it on different versions. You played PC, I played Xbox.
I play on PC. PC's best way to go.
Oh yeah, no, because you can manage to get it at 4K 60.
Yeah.
I meanwhile was at.
But that's only if you have a good enough rig for it.
Which
I do.
Yes, I was about to say Elliot does have that good rig for it.
But most people don't.
So
yes,
I'm gonna say So for example, I have now got a complete rig for 4K 60. So and I now normally my rule is I will play an Xbox first party game on Xbox. But I am going to change my rule this year because I don't want to do it for Avowed.
In fact, I think Senua Saga was actually the first game I played on this thing.
And what a good test for it. I mean, some of those sequences, I think if they hadn't developed the great art style and the great motion capture, it wouldn't have hit as well as it did.
Yeah, and like, oh my god, like just the looks in Senua's face, like the struggle, like it looks like she's going through major struggles and like through major pain while she's like going through some of the tougher moments in that game.
And one of my favorite parts of Senua's Sacrifice is the character development of the guy who initially imprisoned her.
Yeah,
his character arc is really good, and
yeah. Oh
I think it wouldn't have
so much good about the game.
And I don't think it would have been nailed as well if they hadn't had those great facial expressions that they can put on the characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Reese, your pick for this one was
Tekken 8.
Tekken 8, which it is the best looking Tekken game, and it really does look very good.
It's also the first fighting game to be on Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, because Street Fighter 6 is on RE Engine, and
Mortal Kombat 1, I think, is Unreal 4.
Can I be honest? I think this looks better than Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh, it easily does, yeah, because it's on more advanced hardware. And they push the system even further. Because part of the whole dynamic in the marketing was real-time muscle change per attack. So, like, when you zoom in on the characters when they're doing attacks, you see their muscles, like, flex and strain in real time.
They made the characters look really bulky, I will say that.
And
like there's muscles and then there's fucking balloons. Those guys have fucking balloons in their skin, I swear to God.
But yeah, I was super impressed by the art style overall, the character designs. The end of the story, which is a spoiler, just turns into JoJo's Part 2. So for those who know, you know.
Oh yeah, you know.
I was very impressed.
So yeah, then like the designs for like the new characters, like there's a reign of people with thirsting after Reina, I'm certain.
Oh yeah, and people still are even now.
Yeah, that's
all the DLCs come out.
That's not surprising. She's a great looking character.
Are they done with DLC for Tekken 8, or is there going to be more coming?
We're done with season 1 now with the 4 characters. We may get more in the future, but they've not said.
I mean, fighting games usually get like 2 seasons, I'm pretty sure, at least.
I think Street Fighter is the exception. Street Fighter gets lots of DLC.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Soul Calibur 6 got 2.
Yeah, Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 5
so with Tekken 8, it ended on the reveal of Clive being added to the roster, who was the most broken character in any fighting game ever.
Oh god, that makes me so
Because
happy.
he has his whole moveset for Final Fantasy 16 brought over with all the icons.
But
Which I'm pretty sure they did that with Noctis and Tekken 7, but
Yeah.
obviously Noctis isn't nearly as broken.
yeah, I
Massively,
actually mained Noctis in Tekken 7. Incidentally,
Of course.
Reese, who did you main in Tekken 8?
So I went for a few. I did start with Claudio, the Italian guy.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So I started for him, but then I at the end of my playthrough for the online, I became a King main
Oh, that's
because
interesting.
King was super good in this game.
King was really good.
I just went with Reina. She was
Oh,
a new character. I tried her out, and I was just like, "Holy shit, she's actually really good."
Simp.
I expected this.
She's fun to play. Okay.
I expected.
Oh, here
this.
comes his classic excuse.
I should not be talking because I'm very close. After this weekend, I think I am very close to maining Mai because I get so many big win streaks with her.
Could be worse. It could
Very
be
big win streaks, Cal.
Yeah. No, seriously, I got 12 wins in a row with yesterday. Incidentally, I mained I was thinking I was going to main Paul like most previous Tekken games, but I ended up maining Leo in a.
That being said, I did also play. I can't remember what his name was. The guy with the sword.
Yoshimitsu.
No, not Yoshimitsu. Not Yoshimitsu. The the cyber guy.
Oh,
I think.
silver-haired guy with the glasses.
Oh, the French guy.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun as well.
I've forgotten his name as well, to be honest. We'll move into my choice because it also ties into Reese's most surprising, so we can start Reese on that subject as well at the same time. Astrobot won my best graphics and art style and Reese's most surprisingly enjoyable game. So we'll start with the graphics, which is, my God, Astrobot is an amazing looking game.
Really, really is.
It's one of, I'm amazed they made the game look that good and it runs at 4K 60 on the PS5.
Yes, absolutely flawless when I played it.
And all those, it really lends to how creative all those worlds are, especially because they made it look better than Astro's Playroom, which was the tech demo for PS5. And I thought, how much further could they have gone with it? And they somehow managed it.
Yeah, because Astro's Playroom is like a small few select levels that you hop around in. Whereas now these all massive galaxies full of levels like Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, and the levels have a lot of variety to them in terms of design and choice. And because they have those levels where they have to recreate previous PlayStation games like Ape Escape and God of War. Reese, you picked the most surprisingly enjoyable game. Why did it win that one? Because I thought we all were kind of hyped for that game coming out.
I was hyped for it, but after playing Astro's Playroom, it was my first platinum when I got my PS5. I wasn't expecting the sheer scale of this game because with Astro's Playroom, it was like very small, contained, light platforming elements. So I thought it would be a nice little romp, but then I was blown away by the sheer scale of the levels and the bosses.
Okay, and I have to agree with you on that one. The scale was a bit bigger than I was expecting, but man, I'm glad they did it. And of course, they added so much content even very early on.
Yeah.
I really hope Team Asobi does add even more content because I want to keep playing.
I'm more hopeful new worlds, actual paid DLC, not just speedrun levels every time.
Put it this way: if they did say we're going to give you more content, but you're going to have to pay for it, I would pay for it.
Yeah, I think everyone would.
I think they've proven that it's worth it. Elliot, I'm gonna move on to you. You pick you're supposed to
Rise of the Ronin,
and this was interesting because I picked it for Blandis. So
yeah, okay. Here's the thing: first few hours, I was right there with you. I thought I can't really get into the combat. The game's not great. I don't know, but once I started to get the hang of the combat, once I started playing through more of the game, I kind of thought, wait a minute. This game's actually fucking sick.
Okay, yeah.
The combat becomes a lot more fun and a lot more technical. A lot of the side quests are genuinely really fun as well. I really enjoy the picture side quests and helping out a lot of the the residents of the world. And yeah, you could say, oh, the world's not that varied. You could make that argument for a ton of games. Like, we praise the living hell out of Ghost of Tsushima. That game is very same. That island is very samey. It's meadows and forests.
I'll disagree.
Meanwhile, this game has like, it also has a bunch of towns, a lot of really fun places to parkour, and I found it so much fun. Like when I finished it, like not enough to like make it like for me to say it's amazing. It's like an 8, but it started off as like a 6.5, and that's kind of just like, okay, yeah, this is surprisingly really solid. I'm actually really happy I played this.
I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Elliot. I just could not get into it in the same way.
How many hours of it did you play?
I only played like 3 or 4 hours. It really just was not gripping me.
Yeah, as I said, once you get the hang of once you really get the hang of the combat, it becomes a lot more fun. And also, I like where you complain about the twins thing. I like where it goes with the 2 main characters, the strife they have, and also you do get other allies that you do get those mechanics with.
Okay,
like it's not just you don't you're not with your twin, but you're fighting with other characters. They have different kinds of movesets and weapons, and it's really cool and really well done.
Okay, maybe I did finish this thing too soon, but it's the same thing that I've had with people telling me about Death Stranding of it gets great after the 10th hour. I'm like, I'm not sure I should have to go that long into a game before I'm really into it.
It's not the point where once you play for like 10 hours it gets really good. It's more for the point of once you get the combat, once you fully understand how that works, that's when you start like having a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Like, I was dying constantly at the beginning. Get used to the combat, I was not dying at all.
So I'm gonna move on to the so my choice was Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
That game was so much fun.
That was
that game was so good.
I went into that expecting that to be a bit of a too generic anime game, and I'll play the story and then I'll be done with it. But I really enjoyed the gameplay. I enjoyed the story. The storyline was great. Surprise! It really fit into the Grand
I saw the trailer for that and I knew it was going to be good. But then, obviously playing it, you just think, wow, this is serious. This is, seriously good.
And they nailed the Grand Blue Fantasy feel and game and camaraderie between the characters. They brought in the side cast very well. I kind of wish they'd merged this into the main storyline of Grand Blue Fantasy, because I actually think it actually is a really good storyline to add on to that, which is annoying.
Technically it is, but it's a what if part of the story, I think.
So basically,
where it's it's a different route, kind of.
So basically, it's we can actually make this canon if it's popular, and if it's not popular, we can say, well, it was a what if story, so we don't have to make it canon.
No, I think it was a what if story from the beginning. They said, but I mean, I think because I did have a little look at it, I think the story for Grand Blue Fantasy is done. I'm pretty sure because all the stuff they've released in the mobile game since has just been events. So I think they have arrived at. I don't know if this is the case, but I think that maybe they have arrived at Estelucia at this point.
But that's the thing. I want to see that part of the story. Can we not have that? Because the anime's not going.
My hope is that this game gets popular enough that we do get the full Grand Blue Fantasy story in this style.
Yeah, I would love the full Grand. I'd love them to go further and have this be the whole Grand. Even if they just took Relink and said, we're going to do another story element that's like an epilogue to the mobile game or something like that. And they said, well, it's going to cost you. You're going to pay £30 for it. I'm like, yeah, I'll pay you £30. I want to experience that. So let's do the next 4 awards. Let me double check.
Last 4 before the big one.
Last 4 before the big ones. So, best story.
The Erotic Fan Fiction Award.
Your pick, Elliot?
Metaphor Fantasio.
Reese?
Second 8.
Metaphor Fantasio.
Woo!
Best RPG. Well, I wonder where this is going.
Wait, this isn't about rocket launchers award.
Okay, Elliot?
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Oh, yeah, okay. Reese?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Metaphor Refantasio.
Yeah.
Oh, all different then.
That's interesting. Best action game.
The Drunken Bar Fight Award.
Elliot?
Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
Reese?
Gundam Breaker 4.
Stellar Blade.
Oh.
Best indie game.
That's going right on the Fridge Award.
Elliot?
9 Souls.
Reese?
SteamWorld Heist 2.
Balatro.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. Since Cal has his crippling gambling addiction.
So we're going to start with Metaphor because it won.
Do not take him to Vegas. He will lose everything.
Yeah.
He won't even gamble. He'll trip over in the doorway and all his money will fall out.
No joke. I've spent over 200 hours on this game. Do not take me to Vegas ever. I will lose all my money.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly, what's amazing is I haven't even gotten close to 100%ing the game.
Really?
Yeah, no, seriously. I've got one more challenge to do, and I haven't maxed out any of the decks. I'm one away from one of the decks.
In all fairness, that is me in Court of the Lamb. I started the game intending to get the platinum trophy. I said 15 hours, so okay, that'll be fine. 100 hours in, I've just been playing the game. I haven't even been trying to get the trophies.
Well, to be fair, Elliot, that's 15 hours before this new DLC came out.
Yeah.
With the update.
So, when the DLC came out, I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm just playing the game now.
Oh, it's
I want my followers to be happy, okay?
I hate to say that it's really an enjoyable, addictive indie game, and amazing the fact this was made by one guy.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother heard about the game and he started playing it and he got addicted. He admitted like the night he played it, he like spent hours on it.
Who would have thought making poker into a roguelike would be one of the best releases of the year?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
I mean, roguelikes are already kind of addicting. Like every time I start getting into Hades again, I like find myself playing it constantly.
So, I mean, I could go on and on about it, but I think people need to experience Balatro for themselves, and then they'll get why I gave it this award. So I'm gonna move on to Elliot's choice, 9 Souls.
Yeah, Metroidvania meets Sekiro, and it is insanely fun.
I didn't play this. I need to get round to playing this.
It is like, like it's just a lot of fun. The combat is kind of, in fact, I wouldn't say it's similar to Hollow Knight. It's actually a bit more complex. You've got like more moves and abilities than you do in Hollow Knight, and you get a number of skills to unlock, all of which are super useful. Fuck you, Black Myth Wukong.
No, I did play this. I did play it. It was on. I got the Switch version. Which one did you get, Elliot?
PC.
I'm assuming it runs really good on PC.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. No, it runs really well on Switch though. You'd be surprised.
But it's like it's a similar kind of high when you get Master Sekiro, when you're like perfectly guarding all those abilities, and then you just go wham, one big strike, and it's just so much satisfaction, so much enjoyment.
Chaining the parries and the combos is very satisfying.
Yeah, like it's similar to Sekiro, where I just thought I have to master this. I need to go to this game just for my own satisfaction.
Oh, I do. Really...
And like, it obviously does have some of the issues I do have with Metroidvanias, not knowing where to go. For example, like it's very easy to get lost in this game, but
yeah.
I still had a fantastic time with it.
You and I have very different opinions on Metroidvanias. Reese, you picked SteamWorld Heist 2. Very, very good choice.
Yeah. Well, my favourite games. Cal would like it. It's very pirate focused.
Yeah, I mean, you did give it like a 9.5, didn't you?
Yeah, I love the original SeaWorld Heist. And this took everything from that game, but expanded it. Because in the original SeaWorld Heist, the whole map system is point to point with no exploration. Whereas now we have a whole open world to explore with the ocean. And all the time when you go to taverns and bars, it's a constant sea shanties playing.
Yeah, no, it was two of the most piratey indie games I played all year. That and Cat Quest 3.
Yeah.
But it was
Resist, urge.
to make joke.
Not.
It was it was a very strong release actually. I did enjoy my time with SteamWorld Heist 2. I didn't finish it,
Yeah.
but it was pretty good.
Yeah, it gets really difficult later on. So I would recommend people try it.
I'd just try on a lower difficulty initially.
Yeah, because otherwise all your bots will just be scrapped. So you'll earn no experience and lose resources.
So we'll move on to best action game, and this was
Yeah.
a whole. So Elliot, you gave a Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, so we can talk a bit more about that game.
Yay! Yeah, like my main reason was the combat is incredibly simple. There's like no denying that. It's really simple combat. It's essentially button mashing and occasionally pressing other buttons, but it's so addicting.
It's
Like it's a similar high to what I feel when playing Dynasty Warriors. Just like defeating wave after wave of enemies, and like how all the characters just play so differently from one another. Not just in like movesets, but in like mechanics and mechanics and whatnot. And the AI is so fucking good. Like the teammates work so well, and we're just super good together. Like, yeah, I fucking love this game so goddamn much.
and
Like way more than I thought I would.
I love the fact they gave all the characters different storyline missions, and there's all these really good mechanics for each of the characters. Like, it just made trying each of them out more interesting.
Yeah, it gives you a reason to get more of it, and like every time I unlock one, I just got really excited because it just thought more fun, more things to play with.
Yeah, and I even was like going out of my way to get like the items to make the new upgrades to the weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really addictive game.
Like everything it does makes you want to just experience more of it, and that is the perfect thing a game can do for me.
Reese, what was your choice for this one again? Sorry.
So mine was Gundam Breaker 4.
Well, no surprise there, but
it's Gundam.
But it was a really good Gundam game from what I heard about it. I didn't end up playing it in the end.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best games. I say it's tied up there with the third entry, but we're like 10 years between entries, nearly enough. Because we had one when the PS5 launched called New Gundam Breaker, and that was terrible. That was like a 2 out of 10. So this is like a really good return to format. So if you ever watch the original Build Divers anime and Build Fighters, you'll know the main concepts behind this game.
It's basic.
So you get your Gundam, you buy new kits, you go on missions, you progress through the story modes, get even more kits, and at the end you pretty much build a Gundam that can destroy the universe.
So
there's that many modifiers.
Yeah. So
the only thing I know about the Gundam games is that one of them is one of the lowest rated games on Steam, specifically because of server issues.
That's Gundam Breaker Operation, Gundam Battle Operation 2.
Yeah, I thought that was it.
So,
which is the one I have nearly 2,000 hours in on my PS5.
Wow.
Oh, fucking hell.
What about So in terms of how many Gundams throughout the series are we looking at? Are we looking at like a good portion of the Gundams from throughout the series, or are we talking like as a few like cameos in there?
We have all the main cast Gundams from all anime apart from Witcher Mercury, because that came out when this game was in development.
I'm surprised.
So now we're post release with some DLC coming out. They have added a few more kits in,
but not
from Witcher Mercury.
Not Ariel yet.
Yeah, she was added.
Ariel's
it was her and Bob's grunt suit from the first series, the Dura Blade.
Oh, of course.
I imagine we'll get Fract in there at some point.
Yeah, in the future, or at least in the next Gundam Breaker game.
One of my favourite Gundam designs throughout the series is Zex's one from Gundam Wing.
The tall geese.
Yeah, that one. Is that in the game?
Yes, and so all 3 different versions of it.
Excuse me, I've got to go to the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, so the first one from the anime, the second from the end of the anime, and third from the film Endless Waltz.
Oh, yeah, but we all want to forget Endless Waltz existed.
Yeah, great designs, terrible film.
Anyway, I picked Stellar Blade.
I like Double O.
I picked.
Well, you'll be happy. I think there's a ton of great designs in there from it.
Yay!
I liked. So I picked Stellar Blade, and from the sounds of it, Elliot, you were surprised I picked this one.
No, I was more just thinking, oh, someone picked my second place. Okay.
So no, Stellar Blade. I picked it because I wanted to pick which is the most satisfying combat I had all year, and that was easily the winner for me because the combat in that game is so excellent.
I mean, he did nearly beat the game, and you weren't reviewing it. I think that's like him as to how good it was.
Yes, I love because I love the exploration as well. The world is cool to do it. I liked trying to find all the different collectibles. But
I will give it this: best boss fights the entire year.
Oh yeah, the boss
Like
fights
the
are
boss
fantastic.
fights are fucking god tier. They are so goddamn good.
And I also felt it was a lot more, unlike something like Sekiro, I felt like it was a lot more forgiving for someone with a coordination disability.
In all fairness, Sekiro is very much reliant on the parry system. Meanwhile, with Stellar Blade, that's more an option.
Yeah, and I like the fact they kind of said, okay, we're going to mix Stellar Blade with Devil May Cry. We're going to mix Sekiro with Devil May Cry.
That's actually kind of part of the reason why I didn't pick it. The combos aren't necessary. They're literally only really there for flair.
Yeah, but I'm not really someone who likes action games that are so heavily reliant on combos. So that's one of the reasons why it appealed to me.
I mean, that's the exact opposite of me. I love like the combo centric games because it sort of incentivizes me to really understand the combat and gets me learning all these different flashy moves. And like make sure I don't use the same one every time.
Okay, we're gonna move on to best RPG.
We both picked Metaphor. No, wait, no, I didn't. I picked Like a Dragon.
Yeah, so we're gonna do my one last because it will tie into you and me's choice for best story, and then we can finish off with Reese's best story. So I'm actually gonna start with Reese on this one. You picked Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I really enjoyed my time with it.
Oh yeah, I loved my time with Rebirth. I thought it was fantastic.
I'm a bit more mixed than you guys are, but I still had fun with it.
Yeah, like they look like I said, they took a look at Remake and said, how can we do everything a little bit better?
Yeah, the only things worse were the mini games at the end, which needs to get the platinum. I could not do for the life of me.
No, and one of them bugged out on me, and I couldn't get the achievement.
One of my main issues is just that the characters end up flying every time they get hit. That was really annoying. I hate when games interrupt your combos like that.
I do.
Yeah.
Especially when you're being surrounded by enemies and there's just so many of them, so you can never do anything.
That being said, I really did enjoy the combat in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because what I did to avoid Ali's issue was just switch characters.
What about the sub?
Yeah, I like playing Cloud.
And also,
that's your issue then.
He just stands there and shoots.
And of course, there's lots of
moments.
moments.
He's one of the best damage dealers in the game because he nukes everything when you build him properly.
I think my only major complaint with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is, slight spoiler alert, there's a couple of characters we don't get to play as.
Yeah. Vincent and Sid.
Vincent and Sid. We don't get to play as Vincent and Sid. And I'm like, why not? They're right there. You made them models.
Also,
the closest thing you do with Vincent is charge into a children's card game.
I will admit, sorry to keep going on back to the combat. I do think Cloud's Berserker mode, for lack of a better term, is a little worse. Like I liked how it was all like a string of slashes. I don't like how it's sort of zipping from side to side.
Yeah, you gotta be honest though. The material.
I love things like the synergy moves though.
Yeah,
like making you really pick out which party members to have. I think that's really good.
And the material.
And the skill tree was massive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot.
That nearly threw me off because you know me, I'm not a big fan of skill trees.
Yeah.
But I stand by, the materia system is the best ability system in any Final Fantasy. And this game convinced me more of it.
I personally, I think I'd say I prefer Final Fantasy. I say Final Fantasy X's a little bit more.
Yeah, Final Fantasy X is probably second place. I do like the sphere grid. I will grant you that one. And it's weird because everyone seems to really like the one in Final Fantasy IX, and despite the fact Final Fantasy IX is my favorite, it's the one I don't really like the tied to weapons and equipment to learn abilities.
I think 16's also kind of sucks. Mostly because the best icons are always going to be the first ones you get.
Exactly, yeah.
Like it never changed from the first story when I played that.
And you're gonna have more time to learn that one and build it up.
Yeah, like it would be like if you got a new party member like halfway through the game, but they started at level 1. You just think, well, I'm not using you.
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, though, Elliot. I'm not too surprised you picked this one because it is.
The main reason I picked this one is because I just think the RPG mechanics are better than Metaphors. Like they took the combat from Yakuza Like a Dragon, which I know you play, so you have to admit is very good.
No, I will not deny that. It is a very good RPG system.
Yeah, and they took that and made it so much better. Like everything they could have improved on, they did to the point where I think it's like probably my favorite turn-based RPG system.
And they also have that whole thing of, this is mad, we know this is mad, let's just embrace it.
That's Yakuza.
Exactly.
It just goes from it's a game that can perfectly go from serious crime thriller to goofy, silly fun time.
And I was wondering,
and it's not jarring at all.
And while I haven't finished it, I was wondering how we were going to start this game, given how Yakuza 7, which we'll call for now, how that ended. And I was kind of wondering, how are we going to go from that to this? And they did it very well.
Yeah, they really did.
Considering that ending really hits you by the end of it.
Yeah.
Does the end
every Yakuza game I've played does that. They have like stellar endings and amazing beginnings.
Does this one, well, I know it has a stellar beginning. Does this have a stellar ending?
Yeah, I think the ending to it is really good.
And obviously, I think this must have sold very well because from the sounds of it, Sega's really reinvesting in Like a Dragon.
It is. I think it is one of the fastest selling Yakuza games.
So they finally hit the nail on the head.
I mean, Yakuza has been growing bigger and bigger, I think, since Zero came out, because PS2, PS3 was an incredibly niche series, but now it's starting to get more of a fan base.
So, yeah.
Which makes me so happy. I love Yakuza. I cannot wait for the Majima game to come out.
And I think it's...
Yeah, because it has such a fan base now, worldwide appeal. They even had an Amazon TV show based on it.
Which was terrible.
Was shit.
Yeah, I watched one
episode. But it did happen at least.
They just did their own story, but just use the Yakuza name.
I watched one episode, couldn't get through it.
I didn't even watch that, but the entire Yakuza fan base hates it.
Also, while we're on the other subject as well, they got the pirate game coming out in a couple of weeks.
Cannot wait! I cannot wait to play Majima again. I've not done that since Yakuza 0. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, so I'm trying to finish Infinite Wealth so I can play it. So, incidentally, I think it's time to move on to my one, which was Metaphor Fantasia, which also won Best Story for me and won Best Story for Elliot. So,
yeah, the story was fantastic.
The story is fantastic. They really nailed that Persona,
Persona in a fantasy setting, essentially.
Yeah, and they did a really good job of it by labeling it in with the politics of the world and how sort of like powerful groups will justify essentially segregation.
I mean, the entire premise of the story is, what if our world was their utopia?
Yeah. So like everything that could possibly go wrong will go wrong, and it's like although that being said, I think they really overestimated how much of our world is a utopia right now.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, you saw that world. That is definitely terrible.
Yeah, no, their world is, and it does kind of make you, and the twist you get, some of the twists you get, like there's like 2 or 3 plot twists in this, and all of them hit brilliantly.
Yeah, when you discover like what your character's relationship with this prince is, holy fuck.
Yeah, no, I did not see that one coming at all, despite the fact they actually do lay quite a few clues there.
Yeah.
And I do like the fact that they t- they tied in the story quite well with everything that's happening in the competition. Like
Yeah.
also I think they created one of the best bad guys in
Oh, Luis is such a good villain.
Atlas is.
But I say that he's Atlas's best villain.
I think he's up there with Shido from Persona 5. It probably is actually better because Shido knows he's evil, but he doesn't care. Luis has delusions of grandeur and a savior complex.
Yeah, and he's like also just his ego. Because he lets you get away with so much stuff because he thinks, oh, I can deal with you later.
Yeah. I did find it interesting that they got mostly a British cast for this, or at least they had British accents on everyone, and they even went for like the
yeah, I even checked to see if the talent agency was the same one that did Xenoblade. Surprisingly, no.
Yeah, because they did the similar thing with Xenoblade, like the tribe that has a third eye, they got Welsh accents, and there's that tribe of the Beastmen, and they've got the Dogmen, and they've got the Scouse accents.
I will say it was incredibly weird to have a necromancer with a Scottish accent.
Yeah, a necromancer with a Scottish accent, and then you've got
that is so weird.
Yeah, I know. But I think there's one. I will say as well, I made mistakes in my gameplay with that one, but I feel like most people do make mistakes with their gameplay with an Atlas game, and it always warrants a second playthrough to see just how much better you could do.
Mate, you constantly went on about how difficult the final boss was. I did not struggle. I did not struggle that much, specifically because I did not make the same mistakes that you did.
Yeah, I will grant you I made mistakes.
Like, did you go and be... I have to ask, did you go in that final area, did you beat all the humans that would weaken Luis? Or did you just go straight for him?
I beat a couple of them. I didn't beat all of them.
That will probably be why I beat all of them.
But I forgot that you could go back and heal yourself at the ship.
Eurus literally said you could go back and rest up.
I forgot, all right. I made an error. I would say that's why I put it as my review mistakes.
Oh, dementia.
But in terms of the RPG mechanics, because I did pick it for best RPG, the mechanics of not only the turn-based, but the sort of like the stuff you do in the overworld are also fantastic.
I love that everyone now gets access to all the different archetypes. Like, it's not just relegated to just the main character. You can now have like everyone be a different one. Still annoyed you can't change them during battle, but that becomes a little less annoying as you get new characters.
Okay, so I'm gonna say as well though.
Also, just quickly with the story, the world building is what hit it for me.
Yeah, the world
like the world building and the creativity and just all the stuff that happens. Like, it just makes you think. It just really makes me think. I don't want this to be a one-off. I want this to become an Atlas franchise.
Yeah, but I feel like they've done so much exploration with this story of this world that they're going to have to do a new world if they want to do another metaphor.
Not a new world, like a new nation, I would say.
Yeah, because we only saw one nation in this world. We didn't see the other nations, so you kind of wonder what their thoughts are on this whole contest thing that happened.
Or something even cooler, go quite a bit forward in time. See, like, the main character's, I don't know, grandson ruling, and then see how the world changes through that. Throw in some modern technology and stuff. I think it could be really cool.
So, yeah. Reese, you picked Tekken 8.
Yeah. So the whole story with Tekken 8 is a culmination of 30 years of Tekken.
It really is. Point. It really is, and they did a very good job with the storyline.
I mean, it really felt like we got like the very big, almost definitive fight between Jin and Kazuya.
Yeah, that they've been building ever since, well, really Tekken 3. Because that was the whole point of Heihachi training Jin, was to kill Kazuya.
Yeah. Well, I thought originally it was to kill Oga. in Tekken 3.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, but
two birds, one
it's
stone.
been retconned.
Never can be.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's supposed to be retcon now.
yeah. He basically went, two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
The problem I really like Tekken 8 story as well. It does make me wonder though, where are they going to go? Are they going to reboot the storyline after Tekken 8, or are we going to go down another route for Tekken 9?
I mean, from the scenes of it, they're kind of implying that Rain is going to be the next big antagonist. Like, she's going to be the new Heihachi.
Yeah, so going into slight spoilers, the post-credit scene did show her still alive on the battlefield, and she still has access to her devil form.
Yeah, she has a double gene, so fucking hell.
For God's sake,
because at this point in the story, the rest of the devil gene has been wiped out, so she's the only person in the universe with it.
For God's sake, this is like Super Saiyans. They're just giving us away.
Yeah, all part of one powerful bloodline.
I mean, it's kind of implied that she's almost a reincarnation of Heihachi, or has some kind of relation to him. Heihachi didn't have the devil gene, but everyone else in the family did.
Yeah, so it was Heihachi's wife, Kazumi, that had the devil gene.
Yeah, that's it. I thought so.
Yeah, so Heihachi himself, regular guy. He gets blown up, dropped from space, survives, regular guy.
And
he's just that swole.
And can eat it. And if the anime proved anything, can eat a tomahawk.
Yep.
Actually, I should clarify.
Straight to the face.
The first anime. Yeah. Because everyone forgets about the
Not
Netflix
the Tekken Bloodlines we got.
Which is a shame.
Which adapted free.
Which is a shame, because I actually think Tekken Bloodlines is pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
I have not seen any of the Tekken anime.
So that's all well and good. So it's time to move on to, and I think I know what's winning one of these awards. So it's time for the final four before we get to Game of the Year. So,
Woo!
Best Xbox Series X exclusive.
The only Calvin played these award.
And I've got the winner here. My winner here, it's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
I do actually have one.
Presumably Hellblade.
Hellblade, yeah.
Yep. And mine is not applicable.
You will get it next year, though.
I forgot about Hellblade, so I nearly jokingly put mine as a Halo 2 for Game Boy Color.
But I did put down, Reese, you can with this year, because you're going to be able to play a bunch of them now. Especially Doom the Dark Ages.
Oh, yeah.
So, best PS5 exclusive.
The movie where you occasionally press buttons award.
Elliot?
Astrobot.
Reese?
Astrobot.
Yeah, it's unanimous.
Best Switch exclusive.
The Riddled with Lag award.
Elliot?
Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Reese?
Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
And I'm going to try that again. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Hey.
This will be definitely where we'll get something different. Best multi-platform game.
The You Can Have Your Kids on the Weekends award.
Elliot?
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Called it. Reese?
Tekken 8.
Called it.
Of course.
And I went for Metaphor ReFantasio.
Called it.
Right. Let's do the ones that we didn't all agree on first. So we'll start with the Xbox ones. So, Elliot, really it was a close call between Hellblade and Indiana Jones, but I really liked playing Indiana Jones.
I mean, Hellblade was the only one I played, so it had to win.
Yeah, but it's not as if it's a bad game. It's a really good game.
It is fantastic. It is really, really damn good.
Yeah, I kind of wish the puzzles involved a bit less backtracking and going back and forth between places, but
that was kind of a feature in the first game, though. Like, you did find yourself going back and forth in the same area a number of times.
Yeah, but I did feel like they dragged it out a bit more than in the first game.
Honestly, my main disappointment was that the puzzles weren't as difficult.
No, that's what.
Like, they didn't do as many of the looking for runes puzzles. It was more the the whole shifting the area kind.
No, I much preferred the shifting the area to the rune puzzles. I'll take those.
Well, yeah, because your main method for any problem is hit thing with big stick.
Exactly.
We all know. We've all seen your God of War Ragnarok playthrough. We all know your reaction to puzzles, even if you're not the one playing them.
I really, really liked. That being said, Indiana Jones had some pretty good ones. Actually, I didn't mind the puzzles in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, but also with Hellblade, just I loved the story. I loved seeing where Senua went. The background, I forgot to mention this in the best art style. The Nordic mountains were fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, you can tell that
The environments were so damn good, and like, yeah, everything about it was really good. The voices were still as effective as they were the first time around. Yeah, don't know what else to say. I thought it was very, very fun.
Yeah, you can tell that research trip to Iceland paid off.
Yeah, and also I'm still probably the only person in the world who actually likes Hellblade's combat.
I like it as well. I like the fact they slowed it down a bit and had it be 1v1.
Yeah, I prefer it in the first game. I like being bombarded with enemies and having to juggle.
So, I picked Indiana Jones. I stand by my pick on that one. I think it was an excellent shot. An excellent choice. The combat's great. The stealth is actually quite good as well. I actually enjoyed a lot of stealthy moments. The puzzles aren't too difficult and do reward you. It's just and the storyline is really good as well. They actually really did capture the feel of an Indiana Jones film. And I'll say Nolan North's Harrison Ford impression is excellent.
Yeah, it was actually so good. Harrison himself came out later saying how good it was.
Yeah. I mean,
he actually brought up in an interview a few days ago for Captain America 4. He brought it up then.
Yeah.
He was out of the Game Awards, in all fairness.
Yeah. He keeps bringing it up. Let's move to best multi-platform game. Elliot, no surprise you picked Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, but
no surprise. Everything about that game is so good. I've already complimented the combat, but the story is sublime. The game looks amazing. All the side content is so much fun. I love that they kind of brought back Crazy Taxi in a weird way, and like just sort of a weird Pokemon snap mode, and the Pokemon battles. They make Yakuza Pokemon, and it's so much fun.
I love that they.
I love how they all do their little twist on things. Like the Pokemon combat in this game, not all like what you find in a normal Pokemon game.
So Elliot, is this your new favorite in the series?
I don't know. It's either this or Yakuza 0.
I like the fact you didn't just outright say yes. I like the fact you said I'm going to have to think over this one.
Well, I mean, it's because they're both very different games. One's a beat 'em up, the others are turn based.
Reese, Tekken 8, it won so many awards off you already, and it won another one.
Yeah, it was one of the few times a fighting game has not been broken at release for the online multiplayer across all platforms.
But you said it was.
No. I said people using cheesy combos online. The netcode was great. Yeah, it was the players that were being dicks.
I will say, Street Fighter 6, that was pretty good at launch. So, but I do think Tekken 8 was even better.
Yeah.
Because at least Tekken 8 doesn't punish you if your opponent rage quits when you get a finisher move. Still salty about that shit.
They also brought back Tekken Ball for online as well.
Oh yeah, Tekken Ball as well. Yeah, that was great.
So they brought that back online this time.
And I will admit, I really do enjoy Tekken 8, but if I had to get into one fighting game, I preferred the controls on Street Fighter 6. So if I was going to choose one to really get into, I'd pick that one. But Tekken 8 is a very close second.
And the Soul Calibur.
Both games have the accessible modes for the controls, but Street Fighter simplifies it even more.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I think is why Cal prefers it.
And now that we've had the new Street Fighter and new Tekken, please let there be Soul Calibur 7, please.
I'm willing it into the world with you, Elliot.
Here. They're all having fun. We're in the corner sniffing glue.
Who makes Soul Calibur, Elliot?
It's still Namco.
Still Namco.
Yeah, Namco.
Well, they've made enough money off this. I think they can say, well, if this makes a lot with Soul Calibur 7, they would say, well, if this makes a loss, it's no big deal because we made all our money with Tekken 8.
Yeah.
What about... but, okay, so I picked Metaphor ReFantasio. Wasn't much of a surprise to everyone, but...
Yeah.
It's you got to admit, it's a really good choice for this award.
Yeah, there's no denying that. It is a very good game.
I think of all the games that I had a choice of which platform I played it on, I really enjoyed this one the most. It stole, like any Persona game, it stole so much of my time, and I didn't regret any of it.
Yeah, there's a reason it took me 2 months to finish it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Only because I spent hours upon hours grinding.
So
And that's the reason I got all my characters were level 90 by the end.
It's my favorite RPG of the year. And it's one of my favorite games of the year. It's just fantastic. So Nick, I think we can move on then to with the ones we agreed on. So best Switch exclusive. We all said Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
It's so good.
It was so good. It brings the franchise forward in a new direction.
Yeah, it's a very.
I'm just happy we get a Zelda game that's not another Breath of the Wild clone.
I really like the sort of new ideas they had with this one. It really gave a new spin on a Zelda game.
I like that they brought back the toy graphics that they had with the Link's Awakening remake.
Here's one I've wondered, and I said this at the time, so I wonder if your opinions have changed on this. Would you guys like what I would like, which is a co-op Legend of Zelda game, 2D Zelda game where we're playing but you can swap between Link and Zelda?
Yeah,
definitely. Because people wanted that this much with this game. Mod has actually found a way to keep Link from the tutorial for the rest of the game.
Oh, that's sick.
So
I mean, they kind of did that with the final boss where Link was fighting with you.
That's what I'm thinking. I was thinking at the time, I'd love this to have been like a 2-player or 1-player where you could swap between them, or even you could do something like scan an amiibo and that's going to be your partner. Like obviously make that optional. Do not make that the entire game because not everyone's collected a load of Legend of Zelda amiibo. But
yeah, I will.
As Carl says, if there's a giant collection on the wall behind him.
And
as he says with his fucking sex wall right there.
Funny. But even if they didn't, I would love them to go back to this. My only complaint with Echoes of Wisdom is the fact Zelda doesn't talk in this one, and I kind of wonder why we're still doing the silent protagonist, especially with her.
Yeah.
It does feel a bit weird we're still doing that, and especially with Zelda, who has been a very expressive character throughout the series.
Because Wanda Gamelon exists.
Anyway, this one actually kind of did surprise me, not because Reese picked it, but Elliot picked it, which was Astrobot winning.
Yeah, I love this game.
Yeah, but I thought you might have picked something else for this one. I wasn't sure why, but I thought you might.
Like what? What would I have picked?
You could have picked Rise of the Ronin.
Why would I pick Rise of the Ronin?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Why would you pick Rise of the Ronin? It really was.
The only other one I could have thought of was Stellar Blade.
Yeah, I actually thought you might pick Stellar Blade at one point.
Nah, Astrobot was just fantastic. One of the best platformers I've played in years.
Yeah, it is so phenomenally good. And it was such an awesome moment seeing them win Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Everything about
that's usually something given to insanely massive games like Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate 3 or God of War. Nah, let's give it to the cute robot.
And it was you can definitely tell the guys from Team Asobi did not expect it.
Yeah.
So, but oh my god, so many. The level design is amazing. The mechanics of it are amazing. And they really get you to care about Astrobot in this game as well, with just the way he does his little expressions.
Yeah, it is a mute protagonist who conveys so much emotion.
And
kind of like Reese.
And I love the fact this was the perfect game for PlayStation's 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
So
just a giant bomb of nostalgia.
And for the love of God, Astro needs to be a franchise going forwards. This is not we're restricting this to the tech demos anymore. We need to be making one every generation.
I kind of want to see what Asobi does next. I kind of want to see them go away from Astro for a little bit, at least until the next console.
Yeah.
I feel like Astro will probably be a one per console kind of thing.
Yeah, but I don't think Team Asobi's going to do anything else now until the new console, because unless they're doing updates or DLC to Astrobot, because there's not enough time, considering how long it took them to make Astrobot. How long is it going to take them? How long, realistically? Because the PS6, we're realistically looking at like 2027, 2028 for that.
Yeah.
Realistically, there's not enough time for Team Asobi to make another game for the PS5.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Unless it's a game they've already started beforehand.
Yeah, that's true. But they're quite a small studio.
Okay, you never know.
They are quite a small studio though, because there's only like 60 or 70 employees there, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely under 100 last time I looked.
Yeah.
I think it was like in the 60s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's time for the big one, guys.
Woo!
It's Game of the Year.
The £1 pint from Weatherspoons Award.
Hey.
So the Golden Ripleys are being given out this year.
Yep.
So we're gonna knock our 5
The Golden Ripleys, is that what we're calling the trophies?
Yes. So we're gonna put our 5 nominations, and then we're gonna in alphabetical order, and then we're gonna give our winner. So Elliot, your 5 nominations.
Astrobot, Granblue Fantasy Reeling, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor Refantasio, and Stellar Blade.
And the winner is
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Big fucking surprise.
No, I was actually I'm a little surprised. I was sort of, is he going to surprise me now and give it to Astrobot, or is he going to...
I'm nothing if not predictable.
Reese, your 5 nominees for Game of the Year.
Astrobot, Dragon Ball's Sparking Zero, Gundam Breaker 4, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and Tekken 8.
So it's anime bot.
Pretty much.
And your winner is
Astrobot.
I had a feeling. I thought
at the last minute he might change it to Tekken 8.
No, it's not the only game I've ever rated a 10 on my review.
Okay, so
that's specifically why I thought it would be Astrobot.
My nominees for Game of the Year are Astrobot, Balatro, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Marvel Rivals, and Metaphor Refantasio.
No Sonic?
No, I'm not going to nominate Sonic because
it's re-released.
It's a re-release. And the winner is Astrobot.
Hey.
Yeah.
No surprises there from me.
I was thinking maybe you would have swapped it to Metaphor.
It was so close between Metaphor and Astro all the way leading up to this, but whereas Metaphor was great most of the time you're playing it, Astrobot is great all the time you're playing it. Like and the only bad level comes from DLC.
Well, Cal, not according to your streams where you died 50 times the level.
That's
your playthrough.
That doesn't make it a bad level. It doesn't make it a bad level.
It just makes him bad. That being said, watching him play probably took a point away.
That being said, it was the most satisfying moment when I beat the speed running level again with the monkey arms one, because it meant I never had to play it ever again.
Yeah. Until Reese gets a bad score and then you start getting paid.
No, he's already got it. He can have it.
Yeah, because it's okay. I think on my time I was like 8 whole seconds faster than Calvin was.
I don't know
how monkey level.
I don't know how you pulled that off.
I was actually spamming triggers, and it was a one run where it didn't fail.
That's also how you piss off right-wing people on Twitter. Spam triggers.
It also got triggered over Indiana Jones last year.
Oh, I forgot about that. They haven't watched many of those movies, have they?
Well, they did, Cal, but they were rooting for the other side.
Hey, so I mean, it's such an extraordinary game, though. Astrobot, we can agree on that one.
Yeah,
but
I literally I cannot think of anything it could have done more.
No, I agree. It is such a great game, but Elliot, you did think of one, and I'm not surprised you picked Infinite Wealth, which.
Yeah, of course I picked Infinite Wealth. It was kind of close for a bit between that and Metaphor. But, the thing is, I thought Metaphor did just what I think a good Persona game would do in terms of, RPGs and, your everyday life and stuff like that. With Yakuza Infinite Wealth, it took an RPG system and a game that I did not think could have been improved and managed to do it in every single regard. And like, it's a game I just found myself absolutely falling in love with. And like the fact that it's the first game I played last year, and it's every part of it is still stuck there in my head. I just thought, yeah, this is it. I can't give it anything but.
And if you're wondering why, if you were wondering why Infinite Wealth was on the thumbnail, that's why.
Yeah.
Because I'm basically Reese whenever a Gundam comes out.
Hell yeah.
It is but it is a very good game, Elliot. I will grant you, it is really well made, and I actually think it was quite bold to make a Yakuza game set in Hawaii.
I thought it was really cool. How far are you in Infinite Wealth, actually? Now I think about it. See, as you say, you've been playing it.
Sorry, repeat that again, Elliot.
How far are you into Infinite Wealth now that you've actually been playing it?
I'm actually about 6 hours in now.
So you've barely gotten anywhere.
No, I've barely gotten anywhere. I'm so annoyed with myself on that one, but
it's like a 60-hour game. You've got a lot to go.
I've got a long way to go. But
a quick question, Elliot. Yeah. Is this the first Yakuza game not set in Japan?
It is still set in Japan, though, so you do still go back to Japan.
Ah, right.
Yes. It's just a part of the game is also based within Hawaii.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And this is the first game that goes outside of Japan.
This is the first one that goes outside of Japan, but there is a bit of Japan in the game as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, all of our nominations were great choices. There's none of the nominations that we picked. I reckon you could find someone and say, "Really? That got you picked that for your top 5?" I mean, I suppose Elliot could say that about Marvel Rivals, but that's all I can think of.
I will admit, I was kind of hoping you'd have Grand Blue Fantasy in yours.
It was close. I mean, if I was going to pick anything else, I might have had Silent Hill 2 in there, because
I'm a little upset I wasn't able to put Warhammer up there just because Space Marine 2 is such a good game.
Incidentally, I will say another 2 games I'm upset I couldn't give awards to because I really enjoyed them were Silent Hill 2 and Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, the Super Monkey Ball was my one I wanted to give points to.
Yeah, I thought you would have put that for your best Nintendo game.
Yeah, because it was a Nintendo exclusive, but you can't say You can't say it was loads better than Echoes of Wisdom.
Also, Reese, surprise no Dragon Ball. Surprise no Sparking Zero.
Well,
I think as a fighting game, Tekken 8 just did everything Dragon Ball did, but better.
Yeah, that's fair.
Better story, better gameplay, better art style.
But we did fantastic, and we got. It's once again another year where me and Reese picked the same thing, and Elliot picked something completely different.
Yeah, Xenoblade all over again.
Hey.
It's like that. It's the second time that's happened, and I think the other time. Other than that, we've had 1 year. Me and you are going to pick the same thing, Elliot, and Reese will pick something completely different.
No,
this is not this year.
That'll never happen.
Yeah, I would love to see which game. No, hang on. Persona 6 will come out at some point.
Yeah, let's be honest. That will probably be the one.
That might be the one that does it.
Yeah, but no, look, it'll be the same year that Xenoblade 4 comes out.
That's
unless you and I just really love Ghost of Yotei this year.
That could happen. I'm not going to rule that out. And there's a lot of great games coming out this year. We got Doom: The Dark Ages, Expedition 33, Grand Theft Auto 6 could be really amazing. There's there's a new...
Of course, it costs £200 apparently.
Pokemon Legends ZA.
Potentially another trailer for Witcher 4. The game's not coming out. Absolutely not.
Pokemon Legends ZA will come out at some point this year. We're going to see Metroid Prime 4, and we're getting a whole plethora of games coming to the Switch too when that eventually releases.
Yeah.
We're going to be having some amazing... but there's some amazing experiences coming up as well. I mean, from the indie market, we're going to probably get some new stuff. Won't be Hollow Knight Silksong.
No.
Because it never will.
It never will.
Keep going, guys.
There's...
I include you, Calvin.
I've given up. I've completely given up.
Yeah, you mention it every time you talk about indie games.
Because it will inevitably there'll be a comment saying there will be what about Silk Song?
For 7 years in a row. It's coming, guys, I swear.
But there's all sorts coming in 2025. I'm really looking forward to trying out all the stuff. Oh, Monster Hunter Wilds. We completely forgot about that. That looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean, obviously, we talked about before the new Yakuza game.
New Yakuza, the Elden Ring multiplayer game.
Yay!
I think 2025 could be a very contested year for that game of the year.
I saw the look on Fuchs's face. I know he was holding back on the Elden Ring Fortnite. Elden Knight or Fort Ring. Take your pick.
But that's a different year. We're going to give out the Golden Ripleys.
Actually, no. Elden Ring Fortnite Reign. I got it.
There you go. He got there in the end, folks.
We got there in the end. So this time next year, hopefully a bit earlier next year, we'll be doing the Golden Ripleys again.
Yay!
But that's it for us this time because we've been going on for over 2 hours now.
We always do. That's like tradition at this point.
I will say now.
Well, the reason we're going so long is because Cal keeps adding more and more awards every year.
So, yeah. Actually, I didn't add a single award this year. But next, so we're not going to be back in February, and because of scheduling, a combination of scheduling conflicts at the end of the month.
Because Cal was going to play Pokemons,
and I'm also giving out.
Well, we won't be with Amigos. We will be back with this, won't we?
Yeah, we'll probably. No, we don't really have to, unless we do.
Because I thought we were doing the next one next week.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we are going to do another Unprofessional next Friday. Where we're going to talk about the releases we've played so far. Not that many.
Yeah.
I've got 3 somehow.
I've only got 1.
I got 1.
I got 1. Although I might play Kingdom Come, so I have another one. But Anime Amigos won't be back now until March, because we're going to do 2 in March to make up for it. So we'll be back next week with our first Unprofessional back. But thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.